champions, Mickey was the big superstar, but they met SKT, predictably Faker ran him over, and in the interview Faker said, this is a guy who's been promising, but I don't think he's better than the other mids around here. He needs to go practice more. And that's finally Mickey got his time to get his shot back in 3 weeks ago when they beat SKT. I said, now Faker needs to go and practice. That's who's done the most practicing, because we saw Faker's practicing on the world stage, and Mickey's been silent since that last match.
Yeah, but that could actually be advantageous for Afreeca because they had so much time to practice 6.4, where SKT still had to have 6.3 in mind in order to succeed in Katowice. So that could give the upper hand to Afreeca, specifically Mickey. We can see the bands coming out. It's going to be Lissandra Bard so far from the blue side. Zed and Corky being taken away by SKT. So that Zed band showing a lot of respect.
And for the first time in an SKT series in a while, in Champions at least, Nidalee is going to be a big contested pick. Lyra looked wonderful on Nidalee in that series. And we talked about how he outclassed Bengi on both Graves and specifically the Nidalee games 2 and 3 against SKT. Trundle's the last ban from Afreeca. Will SKT leave open the Nidalee? Now, Lulu is also going to be very high priority pick. So Lulu, Nidalee, those are some of the big champions available. Both supports that have been popular. Braum and Alistair also still available.
Yeah, it's going to be Kalista, however, that gets banned away. So the question is, do Afreeca just go ahead and first pick the Nidalee? I think we saw this banned almost 100% 2 days ago.
I think you have to take Nidalee over Lulu. That sounds crazy. Faker is one of the best Lulus, and Bang was perhaps the untold story of IEM. He left IEM 7 games with a 19.6 KDA. That rounds up to 20, just in case you weren't certain. He and Wolf, 19.6 KDA and 12 KDA respectively. Bang died 5 times in 7 matches.
That's just pretty damn good.
Bang has been
phenomenal
wonderful.
Performance by him.
The stats also told a tale of it was Faker stepping back in terms of damage percentage. He actually has the 2nd highest damage percentage in Champions behind Kramer, who of course has been doing all the heavy lifting for CJ Entus. But over at IEM, it was Bang with a much higher damage share. So let's see if they continue with this lineup, putting all the eggs in the Bang side of the Rift, or whether they will go back to Faker-centric. They're on the red side. Nidalee taking that first pick, but a very nice answering set of picks from SKT.
Yeah, so just looking to tank up. Of course, that Unbreakable going to do quite well to block all of those javelins that Lyra is going to be trying to chuck out. So it will be Nautilus and Braum for the side of SKT so far. We'll see where that Nautilus ends up. We have seen it been played in the mid quite a lot recently. But more than likely,
a Faker champion,
yeah,
right?
I feel like this is going to be Duke in the top lane. But, if there is somebody that can play the Nautilus and still carry with it, it's probably Faker.
Have to think Faker is going to want to make Mickey eat his words. I would be surprised if we didn't get a red side 5th pick, especially since this Nautilus is almost certain to be a top lane Nautilus. Not going to be support with Braum locked in. Talked about the Poppy in the featured matchup, and it makes sense for Afreeca to pick up that pick here.
Yeah, very much so. Ixu maybe looking to tie up against Duke for MVP points. I think he's just down 1. I think it's 400, 500 points.
Definitely not going to be too much excitement in the Poppy versus Nautilus top lane matchup.
Yeah,
Lulu locked in.
Yep, so it's just going to be Lulu for Faker in the mid lane. Bang going to the Lucian.
A lot of comfort on the side of SKT. Only the jungle yet to be revealed, so maybe we'll see something different from the jungle pool. Obviously knows that his opponent is going to be the Nidalee. Where will Afreeca go with the draft? We're on 6.4, so some small Cogmore nerfs have come through. 6.5 sees perhaps a bigger set of changes. We haven't seen a lot of Cogmore, but with Poppy as a frontliner and Morgana potentially as a support, it's looking like a fairly safe Cogmore comp. If you can Black Shield the Nautilus ultimate, not too much other CC to get onto the Cogmore, but it's always a risk to pick a mobile backline against the Lulu Whimsy.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're going to go ahead and do it anyway. So Cogmore coming in for Sangyun, and this will be Mickey picking up Varus in the mid lane. Quick hover and the lock in here for Blank. So will be Gragas coming out, something that we're starting to see a little bit more of. Wasn't sure if he wanted to go for the Kindred and try to outpressure early, because that has just been surging in popularity recently. But it will, in fact, be the Fat Man, the Fat Alcoholic.
He is,
in
most skins, a fat alcoholic. It's true, and I worry for Afreeca here. They've gone for the, you were talking about surge in popularity, definitely been the story with Varus as well. Under a turret, you're going to have the poke coming through from Nidalee and Varus, but this is very much a siege poke comp against multiple different initiators. Nautilus coming in from a flank. Now Gragas with the last pick, definitely. If he bounces either Varus or Kog'Maw into the team, they do have single target damage to take him down. So it's very much a standard SKT, good wave clear, good team fighting comp against a pure siege comp from Afreeca, and that's a pretty big gambit to take.
Yeah, for sure. SKT, we know that they can just absolutely excel in team fights.
There's just so much comfort on the side of SKT. Even Blank was playing a lot of Gragas over at IM.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting to see. And Kog'Maw, like we talked about, we've seen it banned away a couple times. We haven't seen it picked too much here in Champions recently. So it'll be interesting to see how Sungyun can use this. Do you think that they're going to try to opt for the 2v1? Or do they want to stick to standard lanes here?
Standard lanes are pretty painful. Lucian, Braum, very powerful, but they got to find a way to get this Kog'Maw through a laning phase, that's for sure.
Well, we'll see if they're able to do that. About to get on the Rift. Game 1 coming up. It's Afreeca versus SKT in a grudge match.
Everybody wants to rule the world. There's a room where the light won't find you. Holding hands.
All right, we are on the Rift. Game 1. Match point in this best of 3 match series between Afreeca and SKT. Let's see who's going to come out on top. So far, looks like we're just going to have a standard 5-point going across the river. See if they want to make any kind of invasive ward placements here.
To recap, this is, in fact, the IM World Championship lineup from SKT. No side of Bengi. It wasn't taken over to Poland and isn't in the booth, at least for game 1, is of course in the squad. Crazy world where SKT actually only have one sub. Bengi is their only nominal sub. There's no more Easy Hoon. Scout also was taken off the list, so only the jungle is there a sub position for SKT.
Yeah, and never did I think that Bengi was going to be the one that was subbed out.
You didn't watch 2014 very closely.
I do recall, but still. After that second world championship, it seemed like he was on top of the world, but you know, I wonder if this is going to be a similar situation to Team Liquid and I Will Dominate plays, you know, a couple games and they decide to sit down and new blood comes in and starts doing better and they just stick with it.
It certainly wasn't the explosive debut for Blank compared to Dardoch, who really did look wonderful straight off the bat. It was much more of a slow burn, but IEM was certainly the experience, the 7 games needed to get Blank confident, but it's translating that into the league situation because you go over to IEM, you win some prize money, you get some glory, but this is where the dirty work needs to be done. They are 7th in champions. Unbelievable for this team that won both splits of the LCK in 2015, so they need to start making it happen, and they need to start a run now if they're even a hope of making it to the gauntlet.
Yeah, and they need to win as many matches as humanly possible. We're going to see a lot of SKT coming up just because they are playing catch-up after being back from Poland.
If you're not familiar with the gauntlet system, every spot matters. The more wins you can get, the 2-0s especially, get the game score up. We saw overall in the standings, the difference between 2nd place and 6th, even 7th where SKT is at, is very, very small. So the games are definitely going to be relevant. And the higher you finish, the more advantages you get. If you finish 3rd, you miss out on having to be in the wildcard match between 4th and 5th. And then if you finish 1st, obviously you skip out on the whole gauntlet. So the higher you finish, the one step closer you are to a grand final against, you know, unless they go on some crazy streak of losses, the Rocks Tigers.
Yeah, I don't really foresee that one happening, though.
We don't even know if they'll drop a game.
Yeah,
a
so
series,
far
sorry.
it doesn't look like it. Oh,
We did end up with standard lanes.
Yeah.
We saw Bang and Wolf invading to see the lane swap was up. They saw the traps down from Nidalee, so knew that there was a lane swap happening, and they get 2v2s. And Lucian, Braum, you know, Braum has basically been the acid test for working out these 2v2 lane matchups. Do you see Braum? Do they have an AD carry that auto attacks? Probably, right? They're going to probably win that laning matchup, and Lucian's certainly right up the top in terms of lane presence, so
yeah,
going to be struggle street for Kog'Maw Morgana.
Yeah, that's been a pretty staple bot lane duo since Braum came into the game. You know, since both of those champions existed, though. You see Blank going in for this invasive play. Lyra does land the javelin. Isn't going to follow too closely. Doesn't look like it. Goes out one more spear, but he's low on mana. Just goes back into that Cougar form. To the jungle. Mickey taking a lot of damage, however, in this mid lane. Faker trying to say, you know what? You haven't practiced enough.
Faker going against type, doesn't have Ignite, so there was no kill pressure just there. Actually gone for the teleport. Mickey has gone heal, which, given the fact that Cleanse is going to be pretty useless, is probably the right call. Only Braum CC, and honestly, if Braum is getting concussive blows on a Varus, who usually sits at 1,000 range, probably got bigger problems than Cleanse.
Yeah.
So there is going to be the TP advantage for SKT.
Meanwhile, Ixu and Duke just duking it out in that bot side of the map. Pretty even in CS, no one really finding too much of an advantage quite just yet. Now Faker and Mickey trading back and forth yet again here.
We saw a lot of Varus 2 days ago when we were last casting champions. Varus has been...
We've seen a lot of Varus within this last week as well. Edge, I think the first one that brought it out since 6.4, and then netting bans in the rest of that series against him.
See, it was a pocket pick for people like Edge, even in 2015 when he was a sub for KT, but it's now becoming more and more a reliable pick, just because, again, line wave clear from off the screen with almost no counterplay is very powerful in this meta with Victor Nerf is up top.
Yeah, this is going to be the gank coming in from Blank. Let's see if we can find a Black Shield still there on Snowflower. Takes a little bit of damage from that barrel, but going to keep himself alive. Heal did get burned out by Sungyun, though. And SKT will now have the Summoner Spell advantage up in that top side of the map.
Crucially, Sungyun held onto his flash. If you flash in this lane matchup against Gragas jungle pressure, the kill pressure onto a poor little Kog'Maw, the immobile AD carry will be massive. Just Braum flashing on top of you with a Q is going to be enough probably to pick up a kill. So lucky for them that they were able to back off in time.
So do live to fight another day, and that's just the great consistency from that Morgana's Black Shield. Can negate the concussive blows from Wolf, so it was nice timing there by Snowflower to keep himself alive.
Look at the item difference between Sungyun and Bang. Sungyun has shopped a bit earlier, just went back and bought a Cull, which is actually a really good item on Kog'Maw because it's on-hit lifesteal and you have very high attack speed. When you pop your W, you do get a lot of value out of the on-hit lifestealing, but it's still going to be the nominal 7 AD versus the massive BF sword purchase from Bang.
Yeah, and if Wolf can land the Q, and they can just get onto Sungyun and stun him, he will almost certainly go down.
Worth knowing that's a bit of a two-point process. They do have to worry about the Black Shield. Burning that off is also relevant. There's no magic damage from Lucian to pop it, so they basically need to wait that cooldown and then go for the engage.
So just going to continue with the farm fest so far across the board. Faker falling a little bit behind, 10 CS down under Mickey.
It's actually surprising. You look at the minimap, a lot of pink wards on the map from Afreeca. The fact that they're able to establish this vision where they're going to have Lucian Braum against a Kog'Maw lane. We already talked about the discrepancy in AD. Full lane control to SKT. Lulu's been able to push up and pressure the Varus. Just the fact that you could stick this vision, this impressive defensive vision, to give Afreeca time, which they desperately need to get through these difficult laning matchups, is a surprise given that Blank has been active on the map, yet they've still been able to stick the vision to give them a bit of breathing room.
Yeah, not even the pink wards though. Look at how lit up the enemy jungle is in that red side. Just spotting out Blank everywhere that he goes. They did just have one more ward expire by the Raptor Pit, so they know exactly where Blank is, now knowing that he's on that bottom side of the jungle. So good stuff by Afreeca being able to just keep track of him.
Big issue is that they've got the losing lane in top for sure. This mid lane matchup, we've seen Varus really take the speed after level 5, as Snowflower takes a nice bit of damage. Afreeca still are on that timer because team fights and the fact that their siege is going to be so brittle with no frontliner outside of Poppy. So having the losing lane matchup, but still being required to group up and siege against a lot of engage from SKT, muddies the water a bit for Afreeca. I do worry for them if they can't really get things going soon.
Yep. Vera and Blank finding each other in the river. Javelin goes onto the Scuttle Crab, but says, you know what, I'll take the pink ward. You can have the Scuttle. So Blank will pick that one up for himself. Trading back and forth yet again. Mickey and Faker just constantly throwing out those glitter lances and the piercing arrows, just trying to mess with each other as much as possible. And, you know, with all of the exchanges happened between these two players post-game, you know, after these series where each side has won, you have to wonder, like, if they lose this first game, how is it going to affect the opponent mentally?
Well, it's worth knowing that SKT are a veteran lineup. All these players have played a lot of games of competitive league at the highest level, so tilt's definitely not a word I would use to describe Faker, but he is a player that plays with confidence. He does overextend. There are games this season where he's been too brash and has died for it. He really wants to show Mickey. You know, those words would definitely have unsettled him. Actually, in an interview after that match, there was an interview with Sungyun who basically apologized to Bang because he also said Bang needs to go and practice. Like, no, actually, I don't know why I said that. Bang's been amazing this season. But Mickey's not one to take his words back. He doesn't mince his words. He is also a confidence player. So it's fun seeing two players who are strongest with their tails up meeting after a 3-week absence.
Yeah. Just need to figure out who's going to be going home with the tail between their legs.
It's probably going to be Mickey, let's be real.
More than likely, but you never know. After that performance by Afreeca taking down SKT the first time.
It would be amazing if we got a Mickey MVP interview after this series. You know they'd ask him. So last time you said Faker should practice, and then you beat him again. Do you have any more words for Faker? That is exactly the question they would ask.
Watch, Mickey goes like 0-0-0, hardly gets any CS, and like Songyun carries the entire series, and they're still like, Mickey gets MVP.
So a BDD MVP, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly, a BDD MVP. God, that one was so upsetting.
BDD said that team fought one fight decently and won MVP.
A triple kill in the last minute of the game.
To be fair, there weren't many other kills that game.
It's true, but he didn't necessarily enable any of those kills.
He would have been maybe number 3, perhaps number 4 on my list.
You know, it's just one of those storyline MVPs.
Narrative MVPs. Just like narrative tier lists. Right, knows about those.
That they do. We can see, though, Lyra making the first objective move here. Will take down the Dragon just 10.5 minutes in, so good early move by Afreeca here.
Whenever we see siege comps like this, I always love to see them picking up the Dragons when they can. Although they have a losing lane, it's on the top, but they managed to find enough pressure in bot to open up the solo. Nice play from Lyra, who again was the superstar the last time these two teams met. And if you have a poke comp with the backup of a 5th Dragon, when you do have a lot of auto attackers, that 2 damage burn will mean the damage from Afreeca will be very tough for SKT to manage, even with Nautilus Braum in the front line.
Yep. Of course, you get people that tanky in the front line. Even so, you have a Kog'Maw on the other team. You're just going to absolutely shred through your HP bar.
SKT do have good answers to the poke. We know at some point Varus and Kog'Maw are going to start raining damage onto a turret. They do have Gragas for...
Speaking of raining damage, Mickey throws out the ultimate, finds Faker, has to pop his own, so the wild growth does come through. Looks like he's just going to back off, so just extra harass coming through.
So low.
Yeah, he's going to have to go back quite soon, or run the risk of going down. Maybe try to bait here as Lyra does come up to this top lane. Throws out the Javelin, finds Wolf, but doesn't want to follow through. Have to respect the damage from Bang. Double longsword plus BF sword. He would be able to turn that gank around in an instant.
Whenever Nidalee isn't pressured to stay in lanes, you get a result like this, where he's over-leveled compared to his opponent, same level as the mid laner, power farms the jungle, and dueling is where no other jungler, not even Gragas, can step up to her.
Yep.
Oh, Lyra
loses
missed an auto.
Finds that one. Now he's going on to Lyra, who's quite low on mana. Throws out the explosive cast. A nice flash. Will take Lyra to safety, but all the same, Summoner Spell burned. And he just loses a lot off of that one. Scuttle Crab and this flash.
Still, it's the more assertive, confident play that we've seen out of an SKT jungler all season. Bengi has certainly been watching other people kill him. Even from the first series of the season where SKT rolled over CJ 2-0, Bubbling invaded his jungler's Kindred and solo killed him. So jungle pressure and the jungle matchup has certainly been one of the chief places that SKT have been struggling. So good signs for SKT that it's Blank that's really making the assertive moves.
Yep. Just trying to, really fight for that starting roster spot here. You know what? I am the new blood. I'm the one that can help bring this team back to greatness. Blank just trying to make moves to do that. Falling very slightly behind in CS, but he's going to be able to equivalent that very quickly over by the Wolves. So Lyra just not really able to create the pressure necessary and the pressure that we expect from a Nidalee in the jungle.
But still, has been power farming, is over-leveled, and the losing lanes we talked about, like Sungyun and Snowfire's lane, are still doing fine as Mickey.
Yeah, Mickey getting engaged on here. Barrel comes through, but they're not going to be able to follow up with that ultimate from Duke. Lyra actually goes in, gets rooted up here. Snowflower coming around the side, takes that Q from Wolf, who has roamed down to the mid side. And now with Ixu arriving, looks like everybody's just going to back off.
There wasn't much kill pressure. Blank didn't have explosive cast. In fact, still doesn't have it. You can see only just now going to come back up, so there wasn't kill pressure. But the thing about Nidalee is sometimes she has to go and pressure lanes because they're bad matchups. She hasn't had to this game as Mickey doesn't have flash this time.
Yeah, this is going to be the revisit as he comes in. Lyra is here as well. Wild Growth comes in, pops him up in the air. Heal comes across as well. Now they're turning this around on Blank. He goes down. One last auto attack from Mickey, finishing him off. And now Faker has to flash away.
Super low.
Yeah, he's taking the red buff.
No matter.
Going away, but yeah, Lyra cannot throw another javelin. And I don't think he wants to go in under that
He's
tower.
dead!
Oh, the piercing arrow from downtown. Faker didn't even see it coming. Picks him off, and just like that, Afreeca finding themselves with a very big advantage in this match.
And suddenly things start to come unstuck for SKT. They didn't respect the heal from Varus. They didn't, whether they just didn't think about the summoner spell, but they didn't respect it. The bounce wasn't enough to push him out of turret. There wasn't kill pressure on him. It was actually a really nice play from Afreeca, and once again, Lyra was in the right place at the right time, and not respecting the heal was what made the difference here.
Yeah.
They pick up the first kill, and so much damage coming through from Mickey. He hits the first Q. Everyone backs away. Faker's like, all right, Lyra doesn't have mana. It'll be fine. As Downbot was seeing a turret dive.
Yeah, looks like they're going to go in onto Duke. The depth charge comes through, but it's going to be Ixu tanking that up. So really well executed. Afreeca netting themselves their third kill in this game. Now with a 2.4 thousand gold lead and up that dragon. They're in a really good spot.
And they juggled aggro so perfectly. It was Ixu, who's already got armor and plenty of matches, has rushed a Banshee Veil super early. Was able to go under turret, didn't get CC'd by the first CC because of the Banshee Veil. Lyra's there, and okay, Lyra didn't impact the lanes very much early, but spent that time farming, and now when he has shown up, has plenty of items, and clearly is very relevant in the skirmish.
Yep. SKT, though, do go ahead and they take out the Rift Herald, so that'll be the first of the game, and the blue buff away from Afreeca. But overall, Afreeca really showing up in this match so far. But we've yet to hit that team fight stage where SKT could really take off and just show their prowess.
Afreeca only wants to team fight if it's out in the open. If you're getting any chokes and Gragas can show up behind you, Nautilus can show up behind you, if they lose their mid lane turret and the teleport fangs become a factor, Afreeca's going to be in trouble. But if their threats don't group, if Morgana's and on split on point with their timings with the Black Shield specifically, and Poppy's there as well, they have very strong siege, and now they have a gold lead too to get those item builds rolling.
Yep. Solid stuff, and then that CS lead in the mid lane's really stretching in favor of Mickey, 155 to 137, almost up by 20. But that is going to be equalized and actually overdone here by Bang in the bot lane, who's at 178, so up by 28 CS against this Kog'Maw. Does have his Ginsu's finished as well as that recurve bow, so attack speed's coming in, but look at this, SKT really well set to go ahead and take this their first dragon of the game, but they're going to be trading this for the tier 1 on the top side of the map.
Afreeca really need to grab gold. Gold is by far the most important objective, so they can hit their timings early, because late game is so punishing for them that swapping the first dragon for SKT for a turret is a good trade for Afreeca. It's never ideal to trade objectives when you've just won the last couple of skirmishes, but this is fine for Afreeca. Now they want to set up around mid, but it's going to be very difficult to break that turret with the Lulu wave clear.
Yeah, but same could be said for Afreeca with that line wave clear coming in from Mickey, so both of those mid towers probably not going to go down for a considerable amount of time. Unless we get a massive team fight that knocks down, 2-3 members of either side. Wolf takes a lot of damage. Do they want to follow this one through? Snowflower has the root coming through. It does hit Wolf, and only Snowflower getting popped up in the air. Lyra goes forward, and they're going to find the kill for Songyun. Explosive gas comes through, knocks Lyra not quite close enough to the tower, however.
So many low members.
Has to come through from Songyun. Lyra manages to finish off Bang, however, on the run. The barrel's going to finish him off. Kog'Maw passive, not going to do a whole lot to that Gragas. But Snowflower on the run. Faker trying to catch him. That's going to be the Whimsy coming through. I think he should be able to get this one. Oh, Juke's out the binding. Can he find the kill? No. It's a little too fast from Snowflower. Gets himself to safety. But that's 2 kills picked up for SKT.
Worth knowing that SKT went for 2 for 2. They're going to get some turret damage in. Mickey got a lot of damage on mid turret, and SKT committed to more members. So Afreeca come out ahead, I guess with the turret falling down and no turret going down. It's pretty even, but able to push up the waves. That was a really even engage overall.
Yeah, nice binding by Snowflower, throwing it through the terrain so that Wolf could not get away from it. And then Lyra just goes deep. Songyun sniping him out there.
And look, this is at this point a 1v3. Bang just hits Lyra into Bang, but Lyra turns around and kills him. That's what happens when you win those skirmishes early, have that extra gold. So that's the only thing that spared the blushes for Afreeca. Could have been a lot worse from their perspective.
Yep, still sitting up quite comfortably. 2.4 thousand. Just a little bit of a, skirmish and a tower pickup here for SKT. Trying to inch their way back into this match, but have to be cautious about the pick potential that is here for Afreeca. Just saw it really just Wolf having to pay for it with his life, and now massive group up here in the mid lane. All 5 members going to be collapsing. Blanket's done into the wall. A huge amount of damage comes across. Lyra jumping in. The Wild Growth, can it save him? Actually, it's going to be the Polymorph, looks like it saves his life, but the tower goes down all the same. So Afreeca, now with 2 low members on SKT, should be able to pressure out for this tier 2.
Their turret damage is really impressive. They've also hit their item timings earlier with their gold. 2 items on Kog'Maw, has the Hurricane already.
Bang's
SKT,
not even here yet. This is
nothing
going to be the tower going down. Afreeca just forcing their way in for these objectives.
They're just so good at hitting their timings. Look at the items. They have the Mana Moon, okay, not the Muramana, but not necessary. The Mana Moon and the Muramana mode is completed, and Ginsu, Rageblade, and Hurricane defending turrets, even walking up to those turrets. The AoE coming through, the Ginsu, Rageblade, all the poke coming through from the Varus. Bang still looking for his item timings, only has a Zeal in his inventory, and so assertive move made when they needed to. Using that early gold they got from swapping Second Dragon for turrets. Good moves so far from Afreeca on a macro level.
Just imagining that, what if Afreeca is the team that helps block SKT out of the gauntlet?
What do the world power rankings look like where SKT goes 7-0 at IM and then come back and lose to Afreeca?
I mean, I think it's the same thing that you, Monty, and Doa have been spouting for the last forever, that Korea is the place to be if you want to be the best team in the world.
There were times in 2015 where it looked like the gap was closing. The LPL was looking very good in the spring split, but ever since then, things have really gone. So you'd have to say that on some level, the power rankings start looking more and more like our LCK rankings.
Yeah. It's also hard to judge. I got to give my shout out to the LMS. We don't know how they rank right now.
That's true.
For whatever reason, they're unrepresented at IEM.
He'll be at MSI.
I want that amended.
You're not a one-man band. Clement Chu's got your back.
Yeah. The LMS deserves to be there. Lyra, though, should not be here in the river. Takes a hell of a lot of damage. Gets popped back by the explosive cast. Kill comes through. Is it enough to keep him alive? No. Gets knocked up by the Braum, and Blank is going to find that kill now. Coming across onto Mickey. X-Triggers pop, but it doesn't even matter. He goes down. That's going to be a canceled TP by Ixu. Doesn't want to follow up on that one. It's going to continue that split in the bot side, but SKT maybe not taking 2 towers as this top one goes down. They are heavily grouped in this mid lane.
Mechanical misplay there. Lyra had flash available the whole time. We saw him flash an explosive cast earlier in the game. Could have done it here, didn't. Went down, and so teleport was wasted. Ixu had to cancel it. Mickey dies as well. They lose mid lane turret, and when you have these comps that need to hit their power spikes, starting to give away free kills, suddenly the late game where SKT will reliably win fights. How many times have Faker on Lulu and Bang on Lucian carried fights for this team when they needed to? Oh, Snowfire face checks.
Oh, wow. Face checks, and that's just going to be the dredge line coming through. A first kill here for Bang.
If we're even in gold in 10 minutes time, I really worry for Afreeca. There's still a world where they win. Death timers are very high, and they do have pick options. But this is a big mistake. Lyra has flashed this whole time. Could have used it. Basically tried to hold onto it too long. And Faker went with the early wild growth, and during that knock-up, that's when the explosive cast came out from Blank. So punished Lyra for trying to be too greedy with the flash, and he dies, Mickey dies as well. The teleport has to be cancelled. A disaster for Afreeca.
Yeah, even after the heal, he could have just flashed down toward the bot lane into that brush, gotten that movement speed increase, but he doesn't do it. Gives up.
So the little mechanical play that happened there is that he was waiting to see the explosive cast animation, then flash, but because Faker knocked him up with the wild growth, there was no time to flash. So smart from Faker and greedy from Lyra, and the result was what you saw.
Yeah, Snowflower getting caught yet again, has to flash away. Black Shield's already down. Ixu here trying to take up this front line. Songyun is starting to fire off shots, but gets taken down to half HP. The rest of SKT still pretty healthy. Faker and Bang about 70%. Looks like we're just going to be tiptoeing around each other. Third dragon of the game has spawned. SKT starting this one up. They have an immense amount of damage here with Bang. We'll see if Lyra can go for the steal.
Duke's teleporting.
Yeah, TP in on the backside here from Duke. No home guards. It's going to be Lyra who takes it away, but they might just lose the rest of this fight. Ixu going to get stunned up, throws out the ultimate, actually boots away Faker, and bang! That is huge for Afreeca. Duke on the run, Blank so low. Javelin not going to connect, but here comes Faker, and bang! This could be the re-engage. Flash away by Lyra this time. Duke goes in, gets the dredge line onto Mickey. Lyra goes back in, finishes off Faker. Can he get more? Ixu getting locked up in the front lines. Duke trying to do what he can, still taking up the brunt of this damage. So far, it's just going to be Ixu going down. Piercing arrow comes through, followed up by Songyun. They take out Duke, and that's going to be a 3-for-1 and the Dragon for Afreeca Freecs.
And it's so fitting that we had top lane as the featured matchup. We talked about the fact that both Ixu and Duke have been playing the Poppy. Ixu's Poppy ult won them the fight. Both threats, just rewatch this fight. It's looking like it's going to be panic times for Afreeca. They do get the Dragon. Lyra was a level ahead of the guys, but watch the Keeper's verdict. Both Lulu and Braum are completely out of this fight. It's a 5v3 for the remainder. Sorry, it was actually both threats. It was both Lulu and the Lucian just completely out of the fight that allowed them to get focus fire onto Duke, and then the re-engage. Really nice heroic charge. Kills Lulu, the utility carry who wants to just be speeding up and putting shields on Bang. Man, Ixu solo in 2 different spell rotations won them the fight.
Yeah, not to discount the steal by Lyra, but Ixu absolutely putting the team on his back during that fight and creating all of the picks. You couldn't ask for a better Poppy ultimate there, knocking out both Bang and Faker.
It's just awesome to see the full channel ults from Poppy be the difference. We see the knockups, you know, we've seen plenty of Alistair Poppy wombo combo knockups, but actually displacing both threats, it's a positioning problem from SKT. Usually you want Lulu and Lucian together, but for them to be grouped for the Keeper's verdict, that's where the misplay comes through.
Yep, solid stuff by Afreeca, giving up a few kills earlier on and just firing it right back, netting themselves their 2nd Dragon, which is just going to help their siege game that much more.
Team fights are very difficult to achieve with the Afreeca comp, but if you get Poppy ults like that and it's 5v3, it's effectively a skirmish, not a team fight, and that's where they can shine.
Pretty good. Last Whisper now coming in from Mickey as well, just trying to get through that tanky front line that is Duke and Wolf. So should be doing a significant amount of damage now. Caulfield's Warhammer as well. So a lot of armor penetration coming in from him. We'll see how that's going to affect his next fight's coming through. Actually throws out the ultimate, catches Wolf and Blank. Not going to be able to follow up on that one, however. So
Not a long cooldown, so a bit of a wasted one, but
yeah, it's a little bit of an odd one, but like you said, not a long cooldown, so more like it's like a Lux Laser and Ezreal ultimate. Why not?
when I saw the ult thrown out, I was like, all right, they'll take the inner turret. Oh wait, they have it already.
Yeah. I thought maybe Lyra was going to jump over the wall or something, but no, they just go ahead and use that one and rotate down to this bot side. It's not even halfway off cooldown quite just yet, so hopefully, for the sake of Mickey, he's not going to regret using that ultimate already as they try to siege up on this tower.
Man, it's not very fun and interactive standing on these turrets and all this line poke.
Yeah.
They just spent so much gold just on cost-effective armor penetration for this exact situation.
Yeah, Cullen comes across, but it doesn't even matter. Ixu, very tanky. Wave is there to eat a bit of that damage. And Songyun just goes off with the W, using that increased range to burn through the turret. So 5-3, gold lead stretching to 4.3 thousand. Afreeca Freecs are looking very strong.
They are, but you have to remember, it only takes 1 engage, the exact barrel. Lulu speeding up the right person, Nautilus getting in the back line, and this comp can fall apart from Afreeca. So far, so good.
Yep, that's going to be a binding landed on the bank. Takes a lot of damage from that Javelin as well, has to dash away. Songyun, who's low on mana, not going to be able to siege with the ultimate too much here.
Poppy has teleport, Duke doesn't quite, but they just had to walk away, and you can see Poppy grouping.
Yeah, and they're just pinging in for this mid lane. Going to try to pressure this out. Like you said, Duke not yet having a
SKT are very out of
Yeah,
position.
he's going to have to back off, and Faker just now recalling. They're going to take out this tower. Don't think they can push in for the inhibitor quite just yet, but yet again, more gold, more map pressure coming in from Afreeca. And SKT just look like they're scrambling to try to keep up.
SKT just kited up and started doing jungle camps, and it gave Poppy the chance to group, and Afreeca just pushed through mid decisively and take a free objective. These siege comps are so powerful around turrets. Now they don't even have to worry about an inhibitor turret in mid, so they've got that prep for later. If they win a fight, they can potentially win the game.
Solid stuff here, but like you said, not yet out of the woods. SKT were known for their late game team fighting. If they can just collect themselves, I suppose, would be the word I could use.
It's just a different feeling for SKT. They steamrolled 7 games in a row to win IEM in exactly the minimum amount of matches it requires to pick it up, 7-0. And now really struggling against Afreeca in their first game back in the LCK.
Yeah. Sungyun just getting stronger and stronger on this Kog'Maw, still down in goal and in farm here compared to Bang, but those items that he's picking up are just going to be devastating the front lines of SKT. Blade with Ruin King going to be finished probably on his next back. Tie that in with a Hurricane, the Ginzu's Rage Blade. He's already got a QSS as well, so it's just that much harder to lock him down.
Worth knowing that Mickey has gone full damage. He doesn't have QSS, he doesn't have a Banshee Veil. He only has Flash and Heal up, so they can ever bait out those summoner spells and then fight while they're down. He should theoretically be an easy one for Gruggs to bounce and kill.
Yeah, only thing that he really has that's remotely defensive would be that Maul of Malmortius.
More is one of the reasons that Varus is so popular. It's a physical damage wave clear that's already unique in itself. It's much better at wave clear than Jace, for example. That's a very similar champion when it comes to ranges, but Maul of Malmortius is such a powerful and synergistic item. You compare it to, let's say, Zhonya's, because Zhonya's, of course, is armor and ability power, and magic resist and attack damage is exactly what Varus is looking for. Zhonya's gone up and cross, you don't rush it anymore.
Great collapse coming in here on Sungyun, perhaps.
But Maul is so damn cost effective, especially with all the stats. Maul's a big reason we see Varus in the meta, and yeah, SKT looking for the catch, but not finding it.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage there is Faker. Those javelins coming through from Dira. He's just threading the needle on all of these shots and really hitting home here against SKT.
I actually think that when we eventually see more of Malmortius nerfed, I think you have to. It's just too damn efficient. Just like Zhonya's was too efficient for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be enough to push Varus out of the meta, or at least help in that. There is a ward here. SKT know this is happening, but are they close enough to contest it?
They do clear this out. Duke and Ixu both have teleport available. It's
All right,
going to be
here we
both
go.
TPs coming in. It's going to be Ixu straight in the lane. Can he find Bang? Stuns him into the wall. Wild Growth comes out immediately. Duke already down to half HP on the other side. That's going to be Blank and Wolf knocked out of the fight as they chase onto Duke. The Javelin lands. Can they go in for this one? They do. They finish him off. Now Bang, stunned into the wall again. Wild Growth already been used. Ixu finds the kill. Now chasing onto Faker. Can they find him? He has to flash away, but he's stunned up by the Frozen Fist. And Ixu is sticking to him like glue. It's like they're just going to peel back, saying, you know what, we got 2 of them. Let's go straight back over to the Baron.
Another massive 2-man keeper's verdict, and in general, just tanking 4 members in the front is Ixu. At the moment, Bang and Faker do nothing to him. The 1-man frontline job from Ixu has been amazing.
Yep, pushing Blank away, trying to keep him out of this pit. He dashes forward. Can he get in there? Throws out the barrel, but he goes down. Mickey finds the kill. Flash over the wall from Wolf, and this is going to be SKT having to surrender this Baron. Snowflower going to be the only one going down.
Baron comes down. Mickey's fighting in the front. He might die.
He does get caught. He does. Can get stunned up. Flashes forward into Faker. He takes him down. Wolf cannot get the shield up in time. Tries to block. Javelin comes through. He goes down. That's going to be an ace for Afreeca Freecs, and the map is just open to them right now.
Mickey looks completely jazzed in the booth. Faker, understandably, isn't understanding what's happening. This team steamrolled IEM and suddenly finds themselves very close to a loss against Afreeca Freecs. Only game 1, it's a best of 3, but Afreeca have shown a lot already.
Yeah. This just makes you wonder what would have happened if it was Afreeca Freecs or one of the other teams that kind of hover around the bottom side of the LCK going to IAM.
You're baiting a conversation you don't want to have.
Oh, I think I do want to have this conversation. But first, we have to look at this replay because Ixu just went off.
Remember, Ixu's alone in the front. There's no other frontliners on the side. Double keeper's verdict, crucially onto Braum, who's going to make the picks and the Gragas. And then they just come and collapse onto Duke. He has no health. Duke's 1-man tank job, not that effective, but Poppy and Ixu doing so much work.
Yeah, he double stunned Bang in that fight. First one, getting the Wild Growth out immediately, and then gets the second one. There's no defense for that Lucian whatsoever, and they just make quick work of him. And just like that, first Baron of the game, going over to Afreeca Freecs, 13-7, up 8,000 gold over top of SKT.
And Baron in these comps where you have Siege versus team fight is always the ultimate equalizer. Either the team with Siege gets it and suddenly the Siege is nothing that anyone can hope to manage, even with Lulu as the wave clear, or SKT pick it up and then the poke, the wave clear doesn't factor as much and they take out the game. So Baron is massive and they're going to try and really take 2 inhibitors. They already have 1 inhibitor turret up, but it's not trivial for them to fight around an inhibitor. Safer for them to just poke under this turret.
Yeah, if they effectively siege this tower and take it down, they can easily get both inhibitors. Look at that. The tower's already down to half HP. Ixu on the sidelines just running a disrupt so that Duke cannot come around for the flank. This is just beautiful play by Afreeca. Night and day, this team from the beginning of the season to now.
I mean, just 2 series in a row, right? The series against SKT, and it's a new Afreeca.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. Ixu's been really good at this goalkeeper job, as I like to call it, stopping any flanks from coming through. Duke doesn't have teleport. He just has to amble up as Nautilus, and so far he's been denied.
Yeah, and he's getting locked up as well. It's going to be the ultimate coming across from Mickey, who does get popped up in the air. Explosive cast comes out, knocks Lyra away. Wild Growth already onto Duke, who's still quite healthy on the Nautilus, and we can see that's just going to open up this inhibitor for the tanking here for Songyun, who's just going off now on this Cogmaul, working everybody down to about 70% HP, sending them back to the fountain. 2 inhibitors down. They can rotate down here to the bot lane, just take a third, if not just finish the game.
And try to look to finish. Remember, it is 5v5 though.
Culling comes across here from Bang, trying to do as much damage as possible, but just tickling Ixu, the shield not even getting broken. Grand Powder Minion still moving in. The buff just now wearing off. We can see this is just Afreeca going down the bot side. Lyra gets picked up though. That's going to be the Glacial Fisher coming across. Pops Songyun into the air, but Blank now is just stuck here at the gate. Takes a ton of damage from the Cogmo, who flashes into the base. Gets 1 kill. Can he find more? Goes on to Duke, who gets locked down by the chain. Picking a Javelin as well. He gets popped. Wild Growth comes through. Does not even matter. Duke goes down. Lyra finding that kill. And with the 3rd inhibitor falling with 2 members down, Afreeca looking like they're going to take game 1 very convincingly.
Speaking of playing with confidence, Songyun flashes into the base to pick up the first kill on Wolf. They're under turret. They want to finish the game now while these death timers are still running.
Yeah, that's going to be the first one going down. Ixu here as well, still so healthy on this Poppy. Stuns Blank into the wall. They just collapse on top of him, and he goes down. That's going to be Keeper's Verdict. Bob gets interrupted by the Polymorph, but just like that, the Nexus falls, and Afreeca are starting off this series 1-0. You can see just how damn happy they are.
No team at IEM could even put a dent in SKT picking up the trophy. It seemed like a foregone conclusion before they even hit the Rift. They come back to the LCK. It's against Afreeca, the team that sent them to IEM with a loss. I know it's only game 1, but Afreeca playing to their win conditions, hitting their timings, and Ixu putting in a superstar performance on Poppy.
Absolutely. Definitely 100% has to get MVP after that performance. He enabled those team fights, the success in those team fights for Afreeca Freecs.
And SKT, multiple problems. I'd have to say Blank once again was underwhelming.